Welcome to Mathematics Grade 9. In this video, you're going to learn about solving quadratic equations by factoring. In solving quadratic equations by factoring, number 1, transform the quadratic equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 if necessary. So, you're going to write the quadratic equation in standard form. Next, factor the quadratic expression. So, you learned in grade 8 how to factor a quadratic expression. So, you're going to use those concepts about factoring. Apply the zero product property by setting each factor of the quadratic expression equal to 0. So, what is this zero product property? If the product of two real numbers is 0, then either of the two is equal to 0 or both numbers are equal to 0. Next, solve each resulting equation. And then check the values of the variable obtained by substituting each in the original equation. Example 1, solve the roots of the quadratic equation x squared plus 4x equals 5. For the solution, write the equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Since in the right side it is not yet 0, we need to eliminate this number 5. By how are we going to eliminate this 5 in the right side? We're going to apply addition property of equality. We have to add additive inverse of positive 5 is negative 5. Or, as shortcut, pwedeng gamitin yung minus 5. So, on both sides. So, plus negative 5. Or, again, minus 5 yung iba. Ang ginagamit, minus 5 na lang para shortcut na. So, x squared plus 4x plus or minus 5 is equal to 5 plus negative 5 is 0 na. So, naka-standard form na, we have to factor the quadratic expression on the left side. So, paano nga ba mag-factor ng quadratic expression? If ang given ay trinomial, so 3 terms consisting of 3 terms, we have the quadratic term, the linear term, and the constant term. Then, the possible factors of these are 2 binomials. So, first, you have to get the factors of the first term, yung x squared. Ang factors ng x squared ay x times x. And then, yung last term na negative 5, you look for the factors of negative 5. Dahil ito ay negative 5, so isang positive at isang negative ang gagamitin. Let's say, positive 5 and negative 1. And then, after factoring the first term and the last term, try nyo mag-FOIL method to check the middle term kung positive 4x ang lalabas. Since we have here 5 times x ay 5x, and x times negative 1 ay negative x, and combining these two, we will get 5x plus negative x ay 4x. So, check sa middle term. Ibig sabihin lamang nito na tama yung ating factors na ginamit. Okay, next, after getting the correct factors, we're going to apply the zero product property, wherein we're going to separate these two factors and equate each factor to 0. So, x plus 5 equals 0, and the other factor is x minus 1 equals 0. So, applying addition property of equality, yung x plus 5 equals 0, we have to add negative 5 on both sides para ma-cancel itong positive 5 on the left side. So, plus negative 5 plus negative 5 on both sides of the equation. So, ang matitira na lang sa left side ay x, or we can label as x sub 1 equals On the right side, 0 plus negative 5 is negative 5. And then, in the other factors, we have x minus 1 equals 0. The same procedure, dahil nga we need to cancel this negative 1 on the left side using addition property of equality. Ang ka-opposite ng negative 1 ay positive 1. So, plus positive 1 plus positive 1 on both sides of the equation. Therefore, we will get x sub 2. So, pwede nating i-label yung pangalawang x as x sub 2 equals, kasi cancel na nga itong negative 1 plus 1 on the left, equals 0 plus 1 is 1. So, these are the two answers. X sub 1 is equal to negative 5 and x sub 2 is equal to 1. For the checking, ang sabi is substitute yung na-compute na value ng x sa original equation. So, if x is equal to negative 5, ang equation ay x squared plus 4x equals 5. So, replace x by negative 5. So, negative 5 squared plus 4 times negative 5 equals 5. Yung negative 5, quantity squared is positive 25. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20 equals 5. And 25 minus 20 is 5. So, correct. Check. Next. If x is equal to 1, substitute yung 1 sa variable x in this equation, x squared plus 4x equals 5. So, we will have 1 squared plus 4 times 1 equals 5. 1 squared is 1, and 4 times 1 is 4 equals 5, and 1 plus 4 is 5. So, the left side is equal to the right side. So, check. So, that means these two values of x that we computed a while ago are correct. Are solutions. So, therefore, the roots are negative 5 and 1. Or we can write the solution set in this way in set notation, negative 5, 1, and close with braces. Okay, example 2, we have 6s squared plus 18s equals 0. So, ano ang appropriate factoring method ang gagamitin natin dito? Since itong equation na ito ay naka-arrange naman na in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, so, pwede na mag-factors. But, kung mapapansin ninyo, walang constant term. Ang given lang ay quadratic term at linear term. So, ganito po ang hint. Kapag quadratic term and linear term ang given, ang factoring method na applicable dito ay ang common monomial factoring. So, ilalabas lang natin yung common factors, yung greatest common factor nitong dalawang terms na ito. Start muna tayo sa numbers 6 and 18. So, ang GCF ng 6 at 18 ay 6. So, 6. And then yung sa s squared at saka s, ang common factor nila ay s. Times the quantity of, so ano yung matitira sa loob ng parenthesis? I-divide lang natin yung 6s squared by the greatest common monomial factor, which is 6s. So, 6s squared divided by 6s is s. Plus, 18s divided by 6s is 3. Then, close parenthesis equals 0. So, paano maka-counter-check kung tama yung sagot? I-distribute natin yung 6s dito sa s plus 3. Dapat itong original na given ang magiging sagot. So, 6s times s ay 6s squared. 6s times 3 ay 18s. So, tama naman. Now, continue na natin dahil na-factor na using zero product property. Separate natin yung dalawang factors and equate to 0. 6s is equal to 0 and the other one is s plus 3 is equal to 0. And then, since 6s, kailangan makancel yung 6 dun sa s. But how? We can divide both sides by 6. So, cancel yung 6, matitira ay s, is equal to 0 divided by 6 ay 0. So, we can label this as s sub 1. Next, s plus 3 equals 0. So, tanggalin yung positive 3 using addition property of equality. So, ano ang ka-opposite ng plus 3? Minus 3. So, s plus 3 minus 3 is equal to 0 minus 3. So, dito gumamit ako ng shortcut method ha. Instead of plus negative 3, diniretso ko na ng minus 3. So, bring down yung s. Labelan natin ng sub 2. Yung 3 minus 3 ay cancelled na, equals 0 minus 3 ay negative 3. So, these are the solutions. S sub 1 is 0 and S sub 2 is equal to negative 3, or you may write the solution set as negative 3, 0. Okay, next, example 3, x squared minus 10x plus 25 equals 0. So, since this is a trinomial, kompleto yung lahat ng terms, quadratic term, linear term, and constant term, pwede nating i-apply ang product of two binomials. And, kung mapapansin nyo rin po, another way is, this is an example of PST, perfect square trinomial. Paano ba malalaman na perfect square trinomial? Yung first term and last term ay perfect square, x squared, tsaka 25. And then, pag kinuha natin yung square root ng x squared, which is x, at kinuha natin yung square root ng 25, which is 5, and then, pag minultiply natin, x times 5, ay 5x, then dodoblehin, so 10x. Gitnang term ay 10x. So, dun pa natin malalaman na PST. Since ito ay minus sign, yung middle term, minus sign din natin ang gagamitin. So, kapag PST kasi, ang kanyang factors are square of binomial. So, itong nakuha nating x minus 5, lagyan lang natin ng parenthesis, and then is squared. Then, equals sa 0. So, again, square root ng x squared ay x, square root ng 25 ay 5, then, yung gitnang term ay minus, kaya minus ang ginamit. And then, pag kinounter check, itry nating multiply yung first term at second term, x times 5 ay 5x, times 2 ay 10x. So, kaya naging square of binomial ang gagamitin natin. Kapag hindi naman ganon, ibig sabihin, yung gagamitin ay katulad ng example number 1 na dalawang binomials. Pwede rin naman itong gawing dalawang binomials or the quantity of, lagyan natin ng dalawang parenthesis, factors ng x squared ay x times x, factors ng 25 ay 5 times 5. Kaya lang, middle term nga ay negative, tapos positive itong 25. So, para maging positive, dapat magkatulad ng sign. So, ang gagamitin natin ay negative 5 times negative 5. So, magkatulad lamang itong dalawa na ito. So, dahil magkatulad lang po yung naging factors, x minus 5 times x minus 5, isa lang yung magiging solution. X minus 5 is equal to 0. Addition property of equality. So, x minus 5, ang ka-opposite ay plus 5, equals 0 plus 5. And then, cancel na yung negative 5 plus 5. Bring down yung x, equals 0 plus 5 is 5. So, there is one answer in here. Kasi, kung i-equate natin another factor na x minus 5, the same lang din. Okay, so x equals 5. Next, 11r plus 15 is equal to 2r squared. So, let us arrange the equation in standard form. So, itong negative 2r squared na nasa right side, kailangan matanggal. Using addition property, so add positive 2r squared on both sides of the equation. So, 2r squared plus 11r plus 15 is equal to negative 2r squared plus 2r squared. So, on both sides of the equation, ay nilagyan natin ng plus 2r squared. So, bring down 2r squared plus 11r plus 15 is equal to, cancel na itong negative 2r squared plus 2r squared on the right side. So, 0 na. Dahil naka-arrange na in standard form at kompleto yung tatlong terms, ang expected nating factors dito ay dalawang binomials. So, gawa lang tayo ng dalawang parentheses, then equal 0. Unahin natin yung quadratic term, 2r squared. So, ano ang factors ng 2r squared? 2r and r. Then, itong constant term, yung 15. Ano ba ang possible factors ng 15? 5 times 3. Ano ba ang gagamitin natin? Parehas positive, parehas negative, o magkaiba ng sign? So, dahil ito ay positive 15, so magkatulad dapat yung sign. Pero, kailangan din natin tingnan yung middle term. Dahil positive ang middle term, so, ibig sabihin, dalawang positive yung gagamitin nating sign ng factors ng 15. Ang problema na lang, saan natin ilalagay yung 5 at saka yung 3? Dito pa sa 2r, yung 5, or yung 5 ay dito sa may kasama ng r. So, by trial and error, malalaman natin yan kung saan ang appropriate na pwesto. So, let's say, ang gamitin natin dito ay 2r plus 5 and r plus 3. So, again, yung 5 at saka 3 ay nanggaling sa factors ng 15. Paano maka-countercheck na tama? FOIL method, yung gitnang term. 5 times r ay 5r. 2r times 3 ay 6r. And then, add natin yung dalawa. Ang kalalabasan ay 11r, which is correct, yung middle term. Ibig sabihin, tama lang yung ating pagkaka-factor. If ever, class, na yung positive 3 ay dito nyo na ilagay sa 2r, at yung positive 5 ay dito sa may r, tapos hindi naman nag-appropriate na yung middle term na 11r, edi pagpalitin nyo lang ng pwesto. So, yun yung tinatawag nating trial and error method. Okay? So, let's separate na the two factors. 2r plus 5 is equal to 0, and the other one is r plus 3 is equal to 0. So, using addition property of equality, 2r plus 5 minus 5 is equal to 0 minus 5. So, 2r, cancel na yung 5 minus 5 equals 0 minus 5 is negative 5. Since yung r ay may kasama pang 2 na numerical coefficient sa unahan, divide both sides by 2 para makancel iyon. So, bring down yung r, labelan natin ng r sub 1 equals negative 5 over 2. Next, r plus 3 equals 0. So, using addition property of equality, r plus 3 minus 3 is equal to 0 minus 3. Bring down yung r, cancel na yung 3 minus 3 equals 0 minus 3 is negative 3. So, labelan lang natin ng r sub 2. Okay, so there you have it, the two solutions or roots of this given quadratic equation. Okay, example 5, 81 minus 4x squared is equal to 0. So, let us arrange the quadratic equation. So, in here, we can use a commutative property. Pagpalitin lang natin ng pwesto itong dalawang terms na ito. So, magiging negative 4x squared plus 81 is equal to 0. Dahil pinagpalit lang naman ng order itong dalawang terms na ito, walang mababago sa sign nila. And then, let us make the quadratic term positive. So, multiply both sides by negative 1. So, using distributive property, so magiging negative 1 times negative 4x squared ay positive 4x squared. Negative 1 times positive 81 is negative 81 equals 0. And then, naka-arrange na siya in standard form, pero walang middle term or linear term. Ang sabi noong naunang lesson natin about solving quadratic equations, we can use extracting the square roots kapag walang linear term. But we can also apply factoring. Remember, in grade 8, kapag meron pong given na difference of two squares, ang factors nito ay sum and difference of the same two terms. So, itong gagawin natin is if factors lang yung quadratic term, 4x squared, or get the square root, so 2x times 2x. And then, itong negative 81, so ang 81, ang square root niya ay 9, so isang positive 9 at isang negative 9. And then, paghiwalayin ng equation or equate to 0 each factor, 2x plus 9 is equal to 0, and the other one is 2x minus 9 is equal to 0. So, 2x plus 9 minus 9 is equal to 0 plus 9, minus 9 rather. We have 0 minus 9. So, bring down yung 2x. Cancel na yung 9 minus 9 equals 0 minus 9 is negative 9. Divide both sides by 2. Cancel yung 2. So, x sub 1 is equal to negative 9 over 2. Next, 2x minus 9 equals 0. Addition property of equality, 2x minus 9 plus 9 is equal to 0 plus 9. Cancel yung negative 9 plus 9, bring down yung 2x, equals 0 plus 9 is 9. Then divide both sides by 2 to cancel the 2. So, x sub 2 is equal to positive 9 over 2. So, there you have it, the solution for this quadratic equation. Okay, let's now proceed with another example wherein it is some sort of problem solving. How well did I understand? Solve the following problem. A computer manufacturing company would like to come up with a new laptop computer such that its monitor is 80 square inches smaller than the present ones. Suppose the length of the monitor of the larger computer is 5 inches longer than its width and the area of the smaller computer is 70 square inches. What are the dimensions of the monitor of the larger computer? In solving problems involving quadratic equations, let's have the representation equation. So for the representation, the area of the smaller is 70 and the area of the larger will be 70 plus 80 equals 150. Width of the larger is x and length of the larger is x plus 5. So for the equation, x times the quantity of x plus 5 is equal to 150. Paano nagawa ang equation na ito? Since we are talking of area of the rectangle, length times width. So ang length ay x plus 5 at ang width ay x and the total area is 150. Then, using distributive property, x times x ay x squared, x times 5 ay 5x equals 150. And then, inarrange lang in standard form, gumamit ng addition property of equality para itong 150 na nasa right side ay makancel. So, add negative 150 on both sides or simply minus 150. On both sides of the equation. So, x squared plus 5x minus 150 is equal to 0. Okay, dahil meron na tayong equation, solution, apply natin ang factoring method. So, yung x squared, ang factors ay x times x, while itong negative 150, ang factors niya ay positive 15 at negative 10. Bakit sa 15 ko inilagay yung positive at sa 10 yung negative? So that yung middle term, pag nag-FOIL method tayo, we will come up with positive 5x. So, next is x plus 15 equals 0. Then addition property, or simply subtract minus 15 on both sides para makancel yung positive 15 on the left side. So, x sub 1 is equal to negative 15. Next is x minus 10 equals 0. Again, addition property of equality para makancel itong negative 10 sa left side. So, ang additive inverse ng negative 10 ay positive 10. So, plus 10 on both sides. Kaya, x sub 2 is equal to 10. And for the final answer, the dimensions of the larger monitor are 10 inches and 15 inches. Why? Because we're going to use the positive answer for the value of x, which is 10. At disregard natin yung negative 15. So, that's it for the final answer. Okay, that's all for this discussion. Thank you for listening.